still care about short sales. This is extremely important. You know, when the first panel in California said short sales are dead. Well, no, they are not dead. And there's a couple reasons that we can talk about. First off, the large percentage of Las Vegas homes are short sales and will remain short sales indefinitely. The goal here for the agents of Las Vegas is to educate people. You will do a short sale. If your house is underwater, $100,000, 10% a year appreciation is never going to make your house equal to the mortgage. Forget equity. Forget the equity. And so whether you short sale today and have all the government programs available to you, or in 5 years when you go to sell and the bank says, sorry, you happen to be one of 200 people asking for it, okay? And we're beginning to see this mindset change, especially in Vegas with the price appreciation. You will do a short sale. So it's the education. Short sale buyers outnumber regular sale buyers. Why is that? Because there's just more distressed short sales available. That's just how it is, especially here in Vegas. Short sales teach agent unique marketing skills, and when we get to a slide that talks about how forever the real estate market has changed with what's happened, I put an article in front of you about Dodd-Frank. This is probably one of the preeminent changes. We will never go back to those other days. And every skill that you learn in working with clients, whether it be buyer, seller, lender, in the short sale arena, will be something that you will use to make money for the next 5 years. Because again, the goal, what I'm here today, is help you learn a mindset of where the banks are, where the buyers and sellers are, so that you're an effective agent for your clients. Next one is, of course, large institutional buyers are involved in the short sale market. This is mega. And what we've seen too in just the last 6 months, they came out of the gate in 2013, hedge funds in Las Vegas. There wasn't anything they wouldn't buy. From what I hear from people on the ground now, that is not so much the case anymore, okay? First they're like, we don't care what the cap rate is, we don't care. You gotta care, you're a business, okay? So, being involved with the short sales and being involved with your institutional lenders, as you can see from an intellectual side, all these things, the relationships with your homeowners that sell, okay, what is the one thing you know about a short sale homeowner?
You're a homeowner.
They want to be a homeowner. And most people are short selling because they have no choice. Either they lost their job, it's way underwater. So you already have a pool of people that you know you can sell a house to. Which of course is why we're at a lending company. Because the idea is, I spoke for ARIA in Chicago and met with one of the Bank of America people. They're designing a whole group just to finance people who went through short sales. And you want to know why? Because they have millions of people who just short sold over the last 5 years. Who do you think they're going to market to? Everybody who owned a countrywide loan. They have a built-in marketing base. What an easy, and they already have everybody's information. They have your tax returns, remember, what's the first thing they have you sign? The 4605s. So they can get your tax returns. So banks aren't stupid. They already see this as the new subprime, okay? So as agents, look at that. Legislation has permanently changed. Now Nevada made sweeping changes to the foreclosure law, which of course totally changed how foreclosures are done and has limited what kind of inventory you have. But that's the horse now out of the barn. And so you're going to see that going forward. And then at the end, you're talking about the mindset that we're working on today to learn. Understanding the major market changes, that why this course and many courses, I'm sure, I'd like to think I'm smarter than everybody else in the education field, will be coming out is because you have permanent changes. Dodd-Frank being one of the biggest. The article in front of you we're talking about, which I'm sure happens here all the time, is talking about how Dodd-Frank has changed private financing. How someone owns their home with full equity, and they're going to actually hold the mortgage for the new buyer for 5 years and do a balloon. Dodd-Frank has not changed that. Why did people do that? Because they didn't want to, they were retiring. They didn't want $250,000 cash that they would get a capital gains hit on. So it was better for them to pass it off. Dodd-Frank now has changed how balloon mortgages work. So this is an article that we're going to see a lot more of these side effects from Dodd-Frank impacting what you do, on top of the fact it changes how banks lend. which of course has been another reason why they've been slow to get back to market, and you see cash sales being almost 50% of the market. The advantage of this is you're not going to see huge swings again in defaults. Why? They own it cash, they don't owe anybody. You can't default on yourself. If it goes to what it's worth half, then you just lost half your money, but you still own it. Versus what we had before, where people who had no business owning 3 homes because they were borrowing against one that was artificially inflated and buying others. But cash sales can't last forever like that. And you have the hedge funds coming in and buying, and they're replacing the traditional smaller local vendors. So what will the impact of large hedge fund buyers do? I don't know, because my assumption is what they're eventually going to do is do stock sales on what their portfolios are, and how the stock prices will impact their holdings, I'm not sure. But it's definitely something that's permanent and here to stay. There's no way a hedge fund owning 10,000 homes in Las Vegas is not going to change things. Buyers are much more discriminating. You know, if they've watched their friends or their neighbors lose a ton of money, right? I'm sure is it worth it? What are we going to do? And you're going to see the investors who were buying an initial, I'm sure that's one of the reasons the local investors have left the short sale market, is because they refused to do what the hedge funds did. They weren't going to take things for cap rates of 5%. The other thing is you see also buyers becoming very competitive here in Las Vegas. I'm hearing people paying over list, forget getting a loan. Well, what does that do? Well, you're driving homeownership, again, it's at an all-time low nationally. It really limits what you're doing here. And the other thing that impacts the market here in Vegas with large hedge funds, if they keep to their word and hold the homes for rental, you have a smaller and smaller pool of resale homes. Because you no longer have, now, it could do 2 things. One, it can restart your new construction, which of course new construction involves here. But still, how much can you build and how much are they going to build is a question here for Las Vegas, but it's permanent. Inventory shortage, you know, the short sale thing, sellers are living for free. That should really change. I had the pleasure of doing a talk show here in Las Vegas last June, and the host, when they would start out the show, would talk about how many new trustee sales or notice of defaults were filed, and really in June of last year they started really kicking in. So you're going to begin to see people realizing that the party's over, they've lived for 3-4 years. Banks after 3 years have to completely wipe that asset off their books. It normally goes to half and a third, then off their books completely. So they really want some kind of income after the 3rd year if they haven't been getting any mortgage payments. So you're going to see that as a pressure point and hopefully help you guys with more inventory. Equity owners are finally coming back. They can sell and make money. Retail buyer confidence is finally returning in 2013 with the higher prices, but of course if they're getting a loan, you have a problem. Limited institutional lending, again back to Dodd-Frank. As you can tell, this is supposed to be, you know, the 5-minute break, but I'm trying to stay somewhat to the schedule, but I want to ask, does anybody have any questions about anything I kind of shared? I know it's kind of basic. Most people may know it, but I wanted to at least start with some kind of sublay of what my goal was. Okay? So what was everybody's, before I let you take a 5-minute break, can someone just share with me what their goal was today? What was the goal for the course as we go into the next half-hour worth of info?
Take more short sale listings.
Take more short sales. Good. We will talk about how to qualify yourself to get those listings. So that's coming up.
Happier clients, more referrals.
Excellent. Another important part, and again, the purple book will go into much more detail about running an effective short sale listing.
After working with you for over a year now, I thought I was sort of getting the process of what the banks were doing. Now I'm getting all confused again because of what's happening. With them coming back with outrageous counteroffers, Phil is talking about what Fannie Mae is doing about taking the properties back, foreclosing on them, selling them back to HomePath where they don't have to have an appraisal. So I'm really all confused now because things were starting to get really good. Now it's just like, you know, what do we tell these buyers when they buy the properties? You know, when you're selling them at you know, maybe middle market value, even at high market value, but the banks are still coming back 20, 30,000 more than what, you know, what market value is.
Especially like
Because
the
they
one,
want the new market value, that's what they're doing. They are
well,
bringing the value up, they decided that now it's time to go up. Because they decided they have to catch it, and now they're deciding they want to bring it up. But I work with lots of bank on properties, and I'm like outraged at the prices they come back after I do the BPO, I give it to them, they come back 20, 30,000 higher than my BPO, which is towards the highest of the costs. It's crazy.
I have two opinions on this. One, like we said, you know, about the MI company, and when we come back, I'll also talk about the valuation issue. Specifically here, I'm seeing it in other places around the country, but you guys are plagued with it. And that has to do with the incredible buying the first quarter of this year by the hedge funds. And like I say to everybody, remember, they all go to the same country club. So that's an important part. But what was your goal?
Well, just to see what you guys say differently.
Okay.
What your philosophy was.
Excellent. Good.
Regarding these hedge funds, okay, like you said, that they're okay with the 5% cap rate or whatever, you know, but.
They said they were.
Yeah.
But they're not.
But they're not, because when they, okay.
When it says for-profit business, that
Yeah.
means they're for-profit. And yeah.
But I'm still surprised that they're buying so many properties, because most of that's kind of, I mean, you know, it's not a whole lot of profit in the properties that they're buying now, so I don't understand the philosophy behind it.
And this is really interesting, and when Terry comes at lunch, you can ask her more, but what I'm hearing now too is they're very nervous about the portfolio that they have under contract that hasn't closed yet because of these crazy valuations coming in. They went to contract on something they could live with, and now the banks are coming back and countering much higher. And so do they undo all the work that they just did going to contract and walking away from all these? But you know, it's funny because in my opinion, it's just, I'm a true capitalist. I believe in the market, and whenever you take that much product off the market in a short period of time, it's going to drive the prices. The thing that I'm surprised at, that they didn't realize that in the end it was going to impact them. But, so, you know, that it's kind of just, it's welcome to the capitalist system. That's just how it works. So we'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back.
How did you want to work lunch, Renee?
However anybody wants to. Like I said, under the rules of the 3 credit hours, we kind of have to be here, like I said, for 3 hours, and I'll cover most of my syllabus, but we have a nice enough group here that really I would like to take questions, because most people, since you're working actively in this area in the short sales, so if they want to eat while we talk.
The food is here. We could bring it in and set it up over here on the counter.
That's fine, because like I said, it's fine with me, because then we can get everybody going. That's good.
We want to be compliant.
I want to be compliant.
Oh, where's the restroom?
Good question. That I don't know.